Greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is John Campea, and this is a companion video. What are companion videos? Well, I'm awfully glad that you asked. See, every day on the John Campea Show, Monday through Friday, we take some time to take some live questions from the audience, but we don't always have time to get around to all the questions that get sent in. But if you sent in a question, I want to make sure it gets answered properly in a video, so we gather up those unused questions and we address them here on companion videos. And hey, listen, a little plug by the way, you can send in a question for the next show anytime 24/7. If you look in the top of the description of this video, you'll see a tip link. You can use that link, submit a question anytime 24/7, and it will be addressed on the very next show. So there's a little update from that. But for now, let's get caught up on the questions we didn't have time for earlier today. And we're going to get things kicked off here with Terry Giordano, who writes, do we think future Wonder Woman movies will all have a year? Oh, like Wonder Woman 1984? No, I don't think so. I mean, if the first Wonder Woman movie had like Wonder Woman 1939 or whatever year it took place in, then maybe there might be something to say about them always having it if they did it for the first one and for the second one. But this was just the second one. I think the year is prominent and important to the movie itself. So that's just there. Plus it also lets us know like the context of it, all that kind of stuff. But they've only done it for this movie. They didn't do it for the first. So no, I don't think they'll do it. It doesn't mean it's impossible, but I don't think they will. All right. James Palmer writes, two films I adore, Klaus and Freaks, two completely different films, but I love them and no one seems to be talking much about them. All right. Thanks for sending that in. I never saw Freaks. I know it's got like Emil Hirsch and Bruce Dern and I'm forgetting who else, but anyway, I never got around to watching it myself, so that's why I'm also never watched Klaus. But I hear a lot of people talking about Klaus too, but those are two movies that were just kind of flew under my radar that I never got a chance to get around to seeing. I've heard a bunch of people talk about Klaus, but I've never heard anybody talk about Freaks though. I mean, I'm aware of the movie, but I've never heard anybody talking about it. So you're the first person to bring that one up, James. Good on you. But maybe now, because of your recommendation, maybe now more people will check it out as well. All right, next up, Wicked Man writes, hey, John. My question is, what Oscar-winning performance is better, Robert De Niro in Raging Bull or Marlon Brando in On the Waterfront? I'm going to go Marlon Brando on the Waterfront. Not because Robert De Niro in Raging Bull isn't absolutely breathtakingly spectacular and fantastic. Absolutely is. But I'll usually go Brando on. There's not a lot of performances you could name. I mean, Daniel Day-Lewis in There Will Be Blood. There might be one or two others, but there's not many you could name that I would actually I personally would put ahead of Brando and On the Waterfront, so I'm going to go Brando on the Waterfront. Good question, though. Wicked Man also writes, I know De Niro, Pacino, and Pesci are getting all the love in Irishman, but what about my man Stephen Graham? He was awesome in that movie as Pro or The Little Guy. He was really good in it, especially when you consider he's acting alongside these titans. He's in these scenes with, I can't remember if he was in any scenes with Joe Pesci, but he's in all these scenes with Al Pacino. Most of his scenes with Al Pacino, but Robert De Niro as well in those scenes. And he fits right in. Like when you're an actor and you're on screen with these titans and you blend right in, that says something. Now, he's not going to get any Oscar attention for this role, but you're right. He was really, really good in it. I'm glad you noticed that. All right. Stubble McShave writes, over or under 40%, Disney licenses out Deadpool to another studio for 5 to 10 years with a possibility of extending such a license. If Disney can't use him in the MCU, they could still make money on him by licensing it out and getting a cut of the profits. Zero. Absolute zero. It'll never happen. Never happen. Why? Well, there's two reasons. The first and main reason is Disney went through an era where they had to license out their characters because they were going bankrupt and they had no choice. And they have spent every minute since trying to get all those characters back. They're not about to get themselves into another scenario where they're leasing out their characters. They're just not. Now you could make the argument, but I mean, hey, if they're not going to use them, yeah, but Marvel is in a position right now where, you know what? We may not have any plans for Deadpool right now, but we could have huge plans for him in 3 years or whatever, right? So considering it's now, if this was another studio that hadn't gone through all the drama that Marvel has gone through about having once licensed out their characters and then spent years desperately trying to get them all back. If it was another studio, Maybe. But at this point, there's no way Marvel, now that they've got him back, that they're just leasing him out again. Because even if they don't have any plans right now, they know they might have plans for him at some point. The second reason is this. No one's going to lease him unless they have a built-in mechanism to keep Deadpool for as long as they want or as long as they need him. What I mean by that, let's say let's pull out a studio. Let's say Paramount. Paramount isn't going to pay Disney a license to get a character for a limited time. Because what happens if they make 3 Deadpool movies in 10 years and they're all fantastic? Well, they're not going to want to suddenly just give it up. They're going to want to keep it. So unless Disney puts in, now you say the possibility of extending, here's the thing. It would have to be a possibility that becomes triggered by Paramount. Paramount wouldn't make such a deal. Universe wouldn't make such a deal. Lionsgate wouldn't make such a deal unless they had the ability themselves to extend the deal, much like Sony's had with Spider-Man and so on and so forth. So unless they have the ability to do that and to extend it indefinitely if they so choose, no studio is going to sign that deal. It's a completely one-sided. That's like if you're an NFL team saying, well, if your favorite team sucks and you go, who's a super hot quarterback right now? Patrick Mahomes, okay? Our team should trade for Patrick. Why doesn't our team trade for Patrick Mahomes? Well, who are we going to give up for Patrick Mahomes? I don't know. Give them our 4th string quarterback. Yeah, that's a great idea, except the other team is never going to go for it. And that's the problem with this sort of thing. Disney isn't going to give up a character, especially one that they aren't going to get back right away. And no other studio is going to sign a deal for a character like that unless they have the option to continue extending the contract indefinitely if the character is working out for them. Under that environment, Disney's only going to get Deadpool back if he's not making them any money. So, yeah, it's like 40%. Oh my God, I wouldn't go above 2%, honestly. So on the answer stub, I'm going to go way, way under. It's just not going to happen on either set. Okay, anyway, Simon writes, maybe the hard reality of the DC universe is that it is really not as good as we want it to be in comparison to the comics. It reminded me of the Super Friends live action special from the 1980s. Well, it depends on what you're talking about, Simon. If you're talking about the DC universe as in the CW DC universe, is it as good as the comics? Well, let's be honest. Some of the comics are absolute garbage. I mean, let's just be honest here. Some of, if not a lot of the comics are garbage. Some are gold and some is garbage. The TV, but you can't really compare a visual on the screen medium to a pen and ink artistic medium, like on a printed page medium. You can't really compare the two, saying one is better. No, they're very different. They're exceedingly different. They're massively different. So I don't know that you can compare the two in any way, shape, or form. And by the way, 98% of television viewers don't read the comics anyway. So it's not like television viewers are watching CW's Arrowverse and going, it's not as good as the comics. Not because 98% of those people don't read the comics anyway. So let's not get ahead of ourselves. So I don't know. No, I don't think so. I think they are each good and they are each bad in their own unique ways with their own unique merits, because one is one medium and one is a completely different medium doing a totally different thing. You know what I'm saying? So I don't agree with that. I think the CW Arrowverse is great for what it is. It is a cheesy, little bit goofy, tongue-in-cheek with a wink of the eye kind of, fun escapism kind of portrayal of the DC universe. It's very different from what they try to do in the movies, and it's very different from what they do in the comic books, but that's what it is. That's its identifying marker, and it works really, for the most part, it works really well as that. But even by its own standards, I just didn't think this Crisis on Infinite Earths episode 1 was all that great. Even by the DC Arrowverse standards. I think the average DC Arrowverse episode was better than this episode of Crisis on Infinite Earths. That's just my opinion. Everybody's going to have a different opinion than that, but that's just kind of my take on it, Simon. But it's an interesting comment. All right. Wicked Man writes, I just watched some Justin Gaethje fights. This dude's a bad man, Justin Gaethje. And he's awesome. He's the most violent man in the UFC and is beautiful. I don't know that I'd call him the most violent man in the UFC, but he's right up there. This dude loves to stand and bang. I mean, which is what makes guys like him, Donald Cerrone, a lot of fighters like that, very, very entertaining for the fans. It's not always the smartest way to fight, but that's his style of fighting, man. He likes to stand and go get it. He likes to stand and fight. And a lot of people still look past him and still overlook him. And I do not know why, but he is legit and he's a bad, bad man. And I love watching Gaethje fight. Anyway, or Gaethje, however they pronounce it. Ben Ellman writes, did a double feature of Ford v Ferrari and Dark Waters this past weekend. Both great movies and both based on incredible true stories. I am a sucker, Ben. Like if you guys have watched my shows for any period of time, you know that I am particularly a sucker for based on true stories. There's something about the true story element of it, that knowing that something likened unto this actually happened. And we all know these movies take creative liberties and that's fine, but something like this basically happened. It just adds to the narrative for me. It adds to my enjoyment of the movie. You know what I'm saying? And I really, really dig them on that level. Dark Waters, I should say, reminds me a lot of those classics we talked about today. Aaron Brockovich. This one really feels a lot like Aaron Brockovich, even though I haven't seen Dark Water yet, by the way. But I am dying to see it. Ann and I already have our plans to go see it. So I'm stoked about that. And Ford v Ferrari is in my top 5 of the year. Right now, it's my number 5 favorite movie of the year. So I'm stoked about that. And I'm hearing nothing but great things about Dark Water. So nice double feature, Ben. And I'm glad you enjoyed yourself. I'm hoping I enjoy it, Dark Waters, as much as you did. All right. Mr. Kaplan writes, I ate up the Wonder Woman 84 trailer like a fat kid with cake. Super hyped. Thanks for covering and always being entertaining. Much love to you both. Oh, thank you so much. And I'm sure Robert appreciates that too. And yeah, look, what can I say? I thought the trailer was great. Now, that doesn't mean the movie's going to be great. Hey, the movie may be a complete unmitigated disaster of epic proportions. We don't know until we see it. This is just a trailer. But as far as a trailer goes, as far as a first trailer goes, I think it's great. Yes, it didn't show us Cheetah. Yes, it didn't tell us what the movie's about yet. And yes, it doesn't explain how Steve Trevor's there. Number one, they shouldn't in a trailer tell us how Steve Trevor's there. That's something you tell us in the movie. Number two, it's the first trailer. You don't need to reveal what the movie's about yet. You can do that in trailer 2 or 3. You have to at some point in the trailers, but you don't have to do it with the first trailer. And again, Cheetah. They showed us Kristen Wiig. You don't have to give us everything in trailer 1. You want to build up. You want to save a little bit for trailers 2 and 3. And I think that's a good key thing. So for a first trailer, I thought it was fantastic. I really do. I think it did the job and I'm very excited about the movie. All right. Harry Mudd writes, I'm not a guy who bawls at the drop of a hat, but Grave of the Fireflies always makes me cry my heart out. Well, first of all, more power to you for watching it more than once. I cannot watch Grave of the Fireflies again. It's great. You know, this came up early because we were talking about Studio Ghibli movies, and Grave of the Fireflies is just like a masterfully made tale, but it's depressing as hell. I mean, and it's like, oh, look, a cartoon. Let's show it to the kids tonight. No, don't show that movie to your kids. They're going to cry themselves to sleep for a month. It is so heavy. And so utterly bleak and I mean, again, a powerful tale told beautifully, but so heavy and so, I mean, I don't think I can watch it again. So you've watched it, you watching it multiple times, Harry. You're a bigger man than me in many ways, my friend. All right. RJW writes, my wish to have the Power 3, John Campea, Christian Harloff, and Robert Meyer Burnett, please all be on the same show to talk after Star Wars Rise of Skywalker, and me, the new Wolverine. You probably mean... Oh, I see you got Wolverine as your icon. Okay. I watch you. LOL, I watch you. I'll be honest, it's unlikely. Mostly because The John Campea Show records at 9 a.m. in the morning. Christian Harloff lives about a 35 to 40 minute drive from me. And he's got his own show at 10 a.m. So he can't be on the John Campea Show because he's got at 10 a.m. he's got the Schmodown show, the Schmoes show. So it's not really feasible. So you're probably never. It's possible once or twice, but it's probably never going to see Christian on the John Campea Show. So Christian comes over here on Tuesday afternoons so he and I can do Dark Side, Light Side together. Well, the problem with that is Rob is very busy in the afternoons, and Rob lives about a half hour away from me, and he's got stuff that he does in the afternoons. He takes times out most mornings during the week to be here in the mornings to do the John Campea Show, but he doesn't really have a lot of flexibility to be here in the afternoon. So it would be great if me and Christian and Rob could be in the same show. Although if you're coming to the 100 million view event that we're having on next Tuesday, you'll have all three of us will be there for that. But I just don't know that you're going to see us all on the same show. It's just the timing works out oddly, so I'm just not sure. But who knows? Maybe it'll happen at some point. Thanks for writing that in, RJ. Okay, next up. Wicked Man writes, my friend watched Scott's Tots. Oh, the most awesome but painfully awkward episode of The Office of all time to watch. My friend watched Scott's Tots from The Office for the first time yesterday, and she watched the entire episode through her finger. Dude, seriously. There are so many episodes of The Office that I have to get up and walk out of the room. Not because the show's bad, but because it's brilliant in making the scenes feel so awkward. I go, and I have to get up and walk out of the room, or I have to go watch it like this. Oh my God. Scott's Tots. Hey, Mrs. Scott, what you gonna do? What you gonna do to make our dreams come true? Scott's Tots is one of the all-time greatest sitcom episodes ever. If somebody were to make, and I'm not going to do it, but if somebody were to make a top 10 list of the greatest episodes of sitcoms, not the top 10 list of sitcoms, but the top 10 episodes of all time, Scott's Tots has to be on that list. I don't know where on that list, but the Scott's Tots episode, dude, that's got to be on that list. But it is also incredibly awkward, so you can tell your friend that I completely 100% relate. I know her pain because I did the exact same thing for Scott's Tots. All right. Balloon Raccoon just sends in a super chat to be supportive. Thank you, Balloon Raccoon. I appreciate that. RJ then writes in the exact same thing. My wish, the Power 3, John Campea, Christian Holland, Robert Burnett, please be on together to start to talk Star Wars Rise of Skywalker and me, the new Wolverine. 2 times for you. Oh, I see. You did it on purpose just to be supportive. Well, thank you so much for that, RJ. I appreciate that, man. And thank you for supporting the channel. We appreciate that. Again, I don't think this is going to happen, but you're going to hear both Christian and I and me and Robert talk extensively about the new Star Wars once we can. The movie comes out next week. Unbelievable. Next week. And you're going to hear us. I just don't know that you're going to get to see the three of us together talking about it. That's the only caveat there. All right. Balloon Raccoon writes, hey, John, first time super chat. Thoughts on Wonder Woman 84? Talked a lot about it earlier today. And thanks for sending in the super chat, Balloon. Loved it. Loved the trailer. Again, I don't know if the movie's going to be garbage or fantastic. It's being directed by Patty Jenkins. So as long as she's directing it, I'm going to give her the benefit of the doubt because she's a fabulous director. She did a great job on the first one. I've got no reason to expect anything less than she's going to do something great with the next one. So we'll have to see. Again, it's only the trailer, but so far what I've seen has got me pretty stoked. All right, Chris P. writes, Gal Gadot is a terrible Wonder Woman. She's not a very good actress at all, but she is so damn gorgeous. I'd like to yuck on her yum. Let's not be crude. But look, everybody knows I am not a big fan of Gal Gadot as an actress. She's just not that good. However, and I've said this for a long time, there was a number of years that I thought Channing Tatum was the worst actor in Hollywood getting consistent work. But now I look forward to seeing him in movies because he just kept working at it and kept working on it. And he got better and better and better. And now I think he's really good. And now I get kind of excited seeing when he's in a new movie. I look forward to watching him in a new movie when he's in a new movie. I think Gal Gadot has gotten better. I still do not think she is a legitimate leading lady. I simply don't. I think a lot of the success of Wonder Woman is based on the direction of Patty Jenkins, much like James Gunn did with Dave Bautista, where protect his blind side, don't expose Dave Bautista's weaknesses as an actor, but accentuate his strengths. And then when you need to do so, put solid actors around Dave Bautista to make him look better. And I think Patty Jenkins did that with Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman in the first one, and it worked fine. It worked fine. Gal did not elevate the movie. Like, say, if a Charlize Theron was playing Wonder Woman, she would have elevated the character and elevated. We wouldn't have had where I come from, we call that slavery. I mean, the scene would have played out much better had a legitimate actress been playing it. That said, my fear in the first Wonder Woman movie was that she was such a bad actress that she was going to ruin all the scenes that she was in. But she didn't. She didn't. And whether that's a combination of she did the best acting she's ever done, combined with the fact that Patty Jenkins put her in the right situations, combined with the fact that they had her paired up with an exceptional actor in Chris Pine, whatever the case is. But now I have no reason to believe that she hasn't continued to improve. She hasn't done a lot in movies. She hasn't done much. But I've got no reason to expect that she hasn't improved even more. So I will go so far as to say this. I no longer think, now that we've had a few years to pass and she's had time to work more and improve, I no longer think Gal Gadot is a terrible actress. I still don't think she is a legitimate leading lady. I don't. But I think she has inhabited the Wonder Woman character. I think Patty Jenkins knows how to direct that movie with her as Wonder Woman. And they're bringing back Chris Pine to offset with her. So I think she's going to do fine. If I could wave my magic Hollywood wand and change it so that a Margot Robbie, I'm just throwing out some examples of some really exceptional actresses, a Margot Robbie or Charlize Theron or somebody of that caliber was Wonder Woman instead, sure, I would do that. But at this point, I don't really complain about it much anymore, because what's the point? She is Wonder Woman now. That's it. Now, if you want to ask me about it, I'll answer. But I just don't see the need to complain about it anymore much, because, she is Wonder Woman. That's it. She's Wonder Woman. So let's just now cheer for her and hope she does well. Like I said, she didn't ruin the first one. She didn't do anything to elevate it, but she didn't ruin it. And she's only gotten better. So, like I've been saying all along, I think she has the potential to be the next, Channing Tatum. Where Channing Tatum just kept improving and improving, and he got to the point that now I'm excited. Now, am I at the point that I'm excited to see a movie with Gal Gadot in it? No, but I believe she's improving. And we've seen the mixture of her with a Patty Jenkins can work. So, I mean, yeah, she's Wonder Woman. So let's just go with it and see how it goes. And again, I go into this movie expecting that she's not going to elevate the material like an actress like a Theron or a Margot Robbie or something, an actress of that caliber would. But I also have seen that she's gotten better and she didn't ruin the first one. So let's just see how it goes. All right. Anyway, and you're right. She's drop dead gorgeous. She's one of the most people like her, like her, Brad Pitt, Margot Robbie, like human beings like that who are just so good looking. It's kind of stupid, but she's definitely one of those for sure. El Pistolero writes, "Hey, John, do you agree that Willem Dafoe should be a shoo-in?" No. Do you agree that Willem Dafoe should be a shoo-in as the new Joker for the new Batman movie, starring the great Robert Pattinson, who recently co-starred in Lighthouse? No, I don't. Now look, because very specifically you're asking me, do I believe he's a shoo-in for the new Joker? No. Why? Because I don't know what this new Joker's supposed to be like. Neither do you. None of us do. Is it going to be a Jared Leto style Joker? Is it going to be a Jack Nicholson style Joker? Is it going to be a Heath Ledger style Joker? Is it going to be an animated Mark Hamill style Joker? Is it going to be a Joaquin Phoenix style? We just don't know. You have no idea, neither do I, what kind of Joker they're going to make. So, with that said, how could anybody remotely say that he'd be a shoo-in for it? We can't. Yeah, I get it. Some people have made fan art to make Willem Dafoe up in Joker makeup. Ooh, he looks great. He's a shoot. No, I don't agree with that. Now, look, the only question I ever ask is about whether I'll be happy about a casting or not is, did they get a great or good or really solid actor? Willem Dafoe is clearly that. But there are others as well. There are many really good to great actors out there. So if they announced Willem Dafoe tomorrow, great. I'll be really happy about it and I'll do a whole show about it. But do I believe he's a shoo-in to do it? No, because for all I know, depending on, it just doesn't look like we're getting a Joker in this next movie. But at some point, if Matt Reeves does another Joker or does another Batman movie and we do have a Joker, and who knows, maybe Joker will be in this one, I don't know. But I have no idea what kind of Joker that Matt Reeves is going to write. And if we don't know anything about the character and we don't know what that character is going to be like, how can we possibly venture a wild guess? So you see, when you say, and when other people say X actor is a shoo-in to play X role, what you're really saying is X actor is a shoo-in to play the way I have the role envisioned in my head. But that might be completely different from the way the director has the character envisioned in their heads. So no, I do not believe that Willem Dafoe should be considered a shoo-in for the Joker and the Robert Pattinson Batman. Not in the least, although I would be very happy if they announced him. Just as there's probably a list of about 15 to 20 names that you could announce that I would be exceedingly happy and excited about if they were to announce that this new person was going to be the Joker. But Willem Dafoe would definitely be one of those names because he's just that great. Anyway, that's my thought on that. But thank you for sending in the question, man. All right. Next up, Nick writes, Buongiorno, Giovanni. Hope you and Lily and Shadow are keeping well. We are. Thank you very much. Lily and Shadow are, of course, mine and Anne's dogs. A trailer for a game called I Am Jesus Christ just came out. You play out Jesus' miracles throughout the game. Are these guys trying to spark controversy? WTF, people will be pissed. I don't know. I find it to be in poor taste, but whatever. I find such a game to be in very poor taste, but again, whatever. To each their own. I'm not offended by it. I think there's going to be a lot of people that will find it to be in poor taste, but may not necessarily be offended by it. So, it is. But I think it's a stupid thing, but whatever. It's okay. Nick also writes, also, Gio, I forgot to ask you a while back. Did you end up looking at that Italian news anchor? I did. Germano Mosconi, pretty funny. Oh, and did you end up getting those game apps for iPad, movie trivia, Hungry Shark? I still haven't gotten any games for my iPad. The only game I have on my iPad right now is Mario Kart World Tour. That's the only game I have my iPad on. I don't have a lot of time to play games on my iPad, unfortunately. But I am loving my iPad Pro. I got the 11-inch iPad Pro. I'm loving it. I'm doing a lot of work on it. It's great. It's basically replaced my laptop. It's totally replaced my laptop. I take now that iPad around with me everywhere I go, and I find that my production laptop is now just collecting dust, which is kind of unfortunate, but I guess I should probably get on Craigslist and sell it or something. But yes, I did look up video clips of that dude, and yes, it was pretty funny, actually, now that you mention it. All right, Jay Master writes, the puppeteer behind the beloved, we talked about this earlier today a number of times. The puppeteer behind beloved Sesame Street characters, Big Bird and Oscar the Grouch, passed away at 85 years old. Yeah, we spoke about that earlier today. About several other people wrote in about that. And again, you put that on the same day that Renee passed, or at least the announcement of Renee's passing came along. It was a sad day, sad thing to hear. All right, Simon writes, my observation earlier, was regarding the Crisis episode aired on Supergirl, reminded me of the Super Friends live TV special that aired in the 1980s. Oh, I see about the earlier question. Yeah, I don't remember the Super Friends live TV special in the 80s. I don't have any recollection of it. Maybe I need to go to YouTube and look it up or something, but I don't have any recollection of it off the top of my head. But I figured you were talking about the Arrowverse at the same time. Thanks for following up on that, Simon. All right, Ben Rayner writes, And this is actually the final question. There were more, but the other questions came in after the show. So this is the final question today. Ben Rayner wrote in, I was talking about Crisis. I love Crisis. And the ending of part 1 got to me. Oh, I remember a thing you sent in. The ending of part 1 got to me. That's just me. I can't wait for part 2. And I know you didn't like what happens in the Supergirl show, but I look at it more as a Crisis part 1 rather than a Supergirl episode. But it was very distinctly a Supergirl episode too. Like they had a lot of other stuff going on. Again, and I just thought, really? You're going to do that when this character should be the main character? Like, here's my thing. And by the way, guys, I'm about to give a little bit of a spoiler about, in case you haven't seen Crisis episode 1 yet, I'm about to say a spoiler from Crisis episode 1 for those who haven't seen it. So you might want to stop the video right now. Okay. You're still here? Okay, here we go. If Crisis on Infinite Earths is meant to be kind of the summation of the Arrowverse up until now, like Infinity War and Endgame were the summation of the MCU up to that point, then having Oliver Queen die in episode 1 is totally stupid. He has been the backbone. He is the founder of and the backbone of the Arrowverse. He is the main guy in the Arrowverse. Out of all the DC CW world, he's the main guy. None of these other shows exist if it wasn't for the Arrow show and the success of the Arrow show. Now, I've had a love-hate relationship with the Arrow show through the years. You know this. But regardless, he has been the main guy. To just have him in episode 1 of your big wrap-up event, I'm sorry. I mean, Oliver dying should have been the big last scene of the last episode of Crisis, if he's going to die. Now, the asterisk to all that is, maybe he ain't really dead. Maybe he comes back in episode 2, 3, or 4, whatever, and saves the day. And then that could be happening. That could be happening. So let's understand. I understand that if that happens, that changes things. For now, if this stands and that really was Oliver's final episode, what a stupid thing to do. Having him die in the first episode, particularly in Supergirl's episode, that makes no sense to me, but whatever. We'll have to see what comes to play. Because again, they might not be done with Oliver yet. It is a comic book show. Just because he died doesn't really mean anything. So we'll see what happens with there. All right, guys. That will do it. Now, you guys saw there were other questions, but questions from Brandon and Willow, those are questions that came in after the show was done. So those will be the first questions we address on tomorrow's show, as well as all the other questions that you guys send in between now and then. Hey guys, thanks a lot for joining me here for this companion video. A special thank you to all you guys who sent in those live questions. Number 1, because you gave us great fun things to talk about, but number 2, because you supported the channel while you're doing that. And all of us here on the John Campea Show, between me, Robert, Chris, Aaron, fact checker Jonathan, Ray, and myself, of course, thank you so much for supporting the content that you guys watch and enjoy. All right, guys, that will do it for me for this installment of the companion videos. Thanks a lot for being here. My name is John Campea, and until next time, bye-bye.